When a high-speed car chase ends with the death of its passenger, the driver is taken into custody.
He didn't kill her, nor did the police, so what happened? Agents discovered they take down the truck. Hello, I'm Charles Farley, and we interrupt this podcast to bring you breaking news of a car chase happening right now. There is a high-speed chase between the law enforcement and an unknown driver heading through the heart of Elko, Nevada right now. These messages are for public safety. Please shelter in place as we deliver the latest. We're going live with Ace reporter Ted Slaw in the Channel 11 News Chopper. Ted, can you hear me? What do you see?
Well, Charles, we're over the Echo right now, chasing the car. Man, he is going fast. We had to do some fancy stunt work here to catch up to him. Fell up my sandwich a little bit, spilled some mayo on my, it kind of looks like I took one off the chin, but not fair.
Oh, yes, let's please move on. What's happening?
Well, as you mentioned, there's a police pursuit as this has been going on for quite some time now. Let's see if we can get some closer looks here. It's a green Barracuda, but it's good. I can see up ahead about a mile. It looks like another pair of cruisers. Looks like they're, one of them is rolling a chain out across the road.
It must be an effort to blow his tires and get this nightmare to end.
That'd be my guess, Charles. The driver is not paying much attention to anyone, but he has someone in the back. It appears to be a hostage. We can't get a clear look at the car, but you can see something moving in the back.
Oh my God, I can only imagine what they must be thinking.
It looks like the person's coming up on the chain now. Wait. Yahoo! Yeah, he just did it. He is now spinning out of control and veering off the road. The officers are on his tail.
I hope everyone is all right.
Okay, it appears everyone has come to a complete stop. They're swerving his car with shotguns pointed at him. Oh my God, they are dragging him out of the vehicle. He has been thrown to the ground. He's putting up quite the struggle.
Oh my God, is the victim okay? What's going on there?
We're working on getting a better angle. Now swing around so we can see the back window. Okay, the police have taken her to their cruiser, and she's inside. Okay, we do see some movement from the back of the police cruiser. It's a woman, and wait a minute. She's banging her head against the window.
Banging her head?
Over. Yes, that's that. Look, there she goes. She's just banging over and over, and she just keeps. Holy shit! Did you see that?
Cut! Go to commercial. Go to commercial.
A Fox News card flashes across the screen. It's a special report. Channel 11 News Chopper is pursuing a car that is screaming down the highway at over 100 miles an hour. Police are hot on its tail. A news anchor speaks to us, the viewers, and informs us that the pursuit has been going on for some time and that the car was stolen. The newsman in the chopper is on the tail and describes the scenario for us. A man has taken someone hostage. The screen jarbles and we cut to inside the vehicle. A woman lay on the back seat in the car in clear distress as a ringing sound slowly increases and overtakes our ears as the camera closes in on her disheveled face. Officers down the way a bit, rushing to set up a roadblock and trap. They take out a long chain, drag it out over the road, waiting for the high-speed chase to arrive. We see the news chopper following the car curve around the nearby hill, and here comes the car headed straight for the chain. The Barracuda has no time to evade it and rolls over the spike trip. As soon as it does, an officer rips the chain away so that the pursuing cruisers don't hit it as well. The car careens to a stop and officers descend on it with the shotguns, pulling a man from the vehicle. He's scared, screaming for the woman in the back, trying to get to her as officers haul him away. They open the back door and help her out to safety and get her in their cruiser as she begs them to get it out of her head. The chopper footage comes back describing what's going on, and they reposition to get a better view of the person in the back seat. To his surprise, it appears as though she's banging her head against the window. Suddenly, as she leaves the shot one more time, a large crimson spray of blood hits the window. Credits.
Wow.
Oh my God.
First of all, I think we just need to pat ourselves on the back for our
That went better than I thought it would.
Amazing performance that we just gave. I mean, I had goosebumps.
for not having practiced, I think it was okay.
And I think you obviously fix it up in post because amazing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The voice effects alone. I thought you were going to embellish the AM radio sound in post, but really you just did this.
Well, it's going to help. It's going to help in post. It's going to help.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to sound very convincing. So, yes, we are covering, of course, episode 2 of season 6, Drive, which is a homage to another movie. Would you say?
Yeah, I would say so.
Would you say that there's a...
I think there's a chance, a slight chance. Maybe Speed had something to do with this. I don't know.
The one has influenced the other, perhaps.
But I will say that we do have... This is around the time that car chases became a thing. When...
Yes, they've never been popular in Hollywood up till now.
No. I'm talking like true crime. Like in the moment, on like... Well, yeah. O.J. Simpson. The fact that people... I think there was a kind of a gentleman's agreement not to glorify it, but then, that kind of got thrown to hell in the 90s. So sensationalism being what it is, they definitely brought...
Pursuit of the story.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this was a big thing in the 90s. You don't see car chases a whole lot anymore. I'm sure they still happen, but given all the other bullshit we have to look at on the internet, you don't really hear about these that much.
It's competing for your attention. If you want car chases, just go to TikTok or something, I guess. Well, this is really Bryan Cranston's episode.
Yeah.
And irony of ironies, he was not originally going to be cast in this.
And who was, sir?
Did you know this?
I didn't know that he wasn't going to be.
He was supposed to be cast in something else. That is to say, he was called up by Gilligan, the victim from our episode 1 of season 6, in the beginning. The casting director had him in mind for another role. And by accident, they gave him the sides for Drive. And so he came in thinking he was going to audition for the character of Mr. Chump? Mr. Clump?
Crump.
The guy.
Did you watch the episode, Andrew?
No, I'd like to go into these really cold.
I figured.
So, yeah, they gave him these sides and he came in prepared for it. And he proceeds to say, okay, I'll be, I'm ready. And they do the lines and he's like, wait a second, that's not what I prepared for. And so, well, what did you prepare for? And he said, I came in for Crump. And they said, well, let's see it. And of course he
knocked it out of the fucking park.
Yeah. We were thinking of something else, but now that you're doing that.
One Tim Watley.
So I guess they had to change things up.
Yeah. So this is before he was huge. And
yes,
he had a occasional recurring role on Seinfeld as Tim Watley. And I believe this is right on the cusp of Malcolm in the Middle, right? Right before or just during?
It's the same time frame, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, and
certainly before Breaking Bad, but of course, this is the foundation of that relationship between Vince Gilligan.
This is what put him on the map for Vince Gilligan when he wrote Breaking Bad. And we all know how that turned out. It was awful, and they hate each other. And it was a globally panned television show and burned in hell.
They slogged it through a couple of seasons and made it to the end.
Yeah.
Where it, trottled off into ignominy.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about this TV show, though?
Yeah, let's talk about this one. So, Andrew, we are here.
Yes.
Drive. Excellent episode written by Vince Gilligan here.
Should we just go to final thoughts? Is that what's happening?
No, I don't give a shit. I'm letting everyone know up in front, this is a good episode. And even if you don't watch the show, you should watch this episode.
You have been talking about this episode for a couple of years now. When we pan out the episodes for the season, who's going to host which episode, and all you said when we were talking about season 6 was, I don't care what you want. The only one I want is Drive. And thus...
That's fair. We
I
each
got all
get...
my choice in season 6.
Nah. We are fair, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let him make it sound bad.
Yeah, you said, well, I guess if you really want something else, I could let you do Drive, but I really...
Hey.
So, yes, what an opening. It is certainly on brand. And it's Vince Gilligan to the core. It is a single conceit. It has a nice twist. You don't know what happened, and it looks like it's going to be one thing, and of course it's going to turn into another. It's going to turn into quite another thing.
Yeah.
But let us go into it, because it certainly doesn't pick up from the cold open like that.
It doesn't. So we're going to just go directly into scene 2. We just hashed out the first scene twice for you. So
yeah,
we're just going to go
we're already like 20 minutes in.
Straight into scene 2. All right. It takes us to Bull, Idaho. The agents knock at a screen door of a small house. Mulder leans on the porch railing, seemingly bored. An oafy-looking man answers the door and speaks to the agents through it. The agents introduce themselves to Virgil Noakes as agents of the FBI, but he confuses them for Jehovah's Witnesses. They're here to do a routine check on why he requested so much fertilizer. Given what was semi-recent events of Timothy McVeigh's truck bomb in Oklahoma, this is somewhat topical.
Somewhat.
He invites them in and kind of gets the door for Scully, then requests for her to help him dig through his papers to find his documentation. He grows sugar beets and has no interest in blowing buildings up. Mulder, however, pokes around a bit and lands on the man's TV set, which has the car chase recap on it. It grabs his attention. As we zone in on the television, the anchor warns people of shocking footage. We see the passenger banging her head on the back window, and eventually a large spray of blood hits the window. It's probably the most graphic video ever to be shown on a news channel, but I don't know that they'd be able to get away with that.
But they do caution people that it is graphic. So
right, but I still don't think they
do.
would ever show that on television. I could be wrong. But Mulder asks Scully's opinion, and she says it's likely she was shot regardless what the police say. We cut to outside at the car. Mulder's on the phone with the local sheriff's department in Nevada. They're thanking him for his interest, and he's letting them know he's on the way to help. She sneaks up on him. Obviously, he was trying to hide this from her, and she flat out tells him they're not going to Nevada. The two get into a brief friendly argument over protocol and their current work at the FBI. Mulder hates that they're trying to humiliate them by doing duty checks on citizens, but Scully reminds him they have to do what they got to do to get back to the X-Files. They have to play ball. He gives her one last pitch. We'll be in and out in less than a day, and no one even needs to know. Okay.
Before we move on.
Yes.
Virgil Noakes.
American citizen number 1.
Do you know who plays that character?
Who is that?
It's a fellow named Junior Brown.
Junior?
Yes.
That jives?
He is a country music singer-songwriter. And apparently he's quite good. And he was cast in the role and paid for specifically by Vince Gilligan.
Interesting.
I guess he's a real fan of the music.
I mean, hey, it's a nice role. He leaves a mark. I enjoy he does a great job.
Yeah.
But hey, if you want to get someone on the show, that's how you do it. You pay for it yourself.
That's right. And you won't even have to pay for him.
Yep.
I thought that was a very nice touch.
It was.
Anyway, we got our setup. The agents are going to just slyly inject themselves into this case. Nothing bad is going to happen. And they'll run back into the regular assignments, and no one will be the wiser. What could go wrong?
What could ever go wrong with them investigating an X-File?
Yeah.
So you feel pretty good about that so far. So far, the episode is good enough. Believable.
This is going to be in and out. 10 minutes. They're going to then they're going to have some lovely scenes of them dining and having ice cream together, and maybe going to a ball game. It's going to be an episode that shippers are really going to enjoy.
Absolutely. Well, we go now to Elko, Nevada. In Crump's jail cell, it's dark and quiet. He lays on his back, just thinking to himself, processing what has just happened to his wife. Suddenly, a shrill ringing fades in, and he gets a nosebleed. Upon sight of the blood, he jumps up from his bed and calls for help. Within seconds, he begins shaking the door violently and screaming at the top of his lungs. Cut to the agents arriving at the department and being briefed by the captain. He isn't letting anyone see him right now. He's accusing the cops of having killed his wife. They want to make sure that whatever happened to his wife, which again was not their fault, does not happen again. Mulder notes there's no prior criminal record, and the captain informs him, well, he's got one now, because he jacked a kid's car and took off, which led us here. Scully's going to check on Crump's wife, while Mulder stays to hopefully talk to Crump. He heads to a map of Nevada and asks the captain where Montello is. Originally, Crump started heading east on the 5, where he stole the car, but officers caught up with him in Wells, which is west of Crump's home. So why would he start east and then double back? That's our first clue, Andrew.
How strange. Directions. Can anyone get them right?
Yes. Oh, man. We go now. Scully enters with the coroner. She's happy for the assistance, as this is new to her. The agent investigates the utter chasm that is the side of Vicky Crump's head. This is some of the grisliest makeup we've ever seen. You can see the right side of her head just being blown out, jaw dislocated. Absolutely gruesome, and I love it. It's really good work there. Scully notes bone fragments without PPE, by the way.
Yes, the innocent 90s that we are in.
She grabs a hand scope and a tool to begin poking around. She roots around the sinus, and the coroner comes over. As she gently nudges the flesh, a drop of blood pools and, without warning, sprays violently onto Scully's chest. Now,
for no great reason.
Andrew, I know you're one to normally pick apart something, but...
Oh, no, I'm totally in favor of this scene. I think this is totally... Or I've given up caring, but go on.
I don't know. I think she should at least have a paper mask on, but...
A painter's mask of some kind would be adequate protection, for sure.
Yes, something with maybe a visor or plastic shield. I don't know.
I have... listen, Vince Gilligan can really do a lot of wrong things and get away with it in my book. So, that happened. And I probably thought a lot of things, but at the end of the day, I can also forgive her that there was no evidence that she was walking into a viral situation.
No.
There was some kind of deadly disease or pathogen that was going to happen. Like this looks like just a death, an unexplained death.
Right. But I don't think rooting around someone's skull without a mask is probably a good idea. But I could be wrong. Maybe I'm nitpicking.
Any autopsy I've seen, they generally are all masked up.
Yeah. All right. Well, back at the jail, Crump is on a gurney as he's being loaded into an ambulance. The EMT is on the phone with the hospital, claiming he's not responding to anything, and he just keeps getting worse. Mulder and an officer are behind them as they watch him get loaded up. Mulder gets pushed out of the ambulance, and he runs to his car to follow. The ambulance speeds down the road. Crump's heart monitor is at a fast pace, and as the ambulance speeds reach 75, we hear the beeping begin to slow. This confuses the EMTs, as they didn't really do anything to change it. Crump's expression, however, is a little bit more relaxed. Mulder's following behind when the ambulance hits the brakes and swerves a bit to the side of the road. The back doors swing open, and a scared Crump, freshly armed from the police officer's gun, jumps out. He has hijacked the ambulance, sir, and he's startled to see that someone has been following. He aims the gun at Mulder.
I want to know what the scene was inside that ambulance that led to that moment of them stopping him, letting him get out.
I mean, he must have just leapt up and grabbed that gun immediately. You can see when he jumps out of the ambulance, you can see like the driver with his hands up or whatever, but that's about it. I mean, he must have went from incapacitated to leaping for the gun.
Pain will do that to you.
Yeah.
But so he orders the driver to surrender and stop the car.
Yes.
There's a lot of swerving in the ambulance, though. So I wondered if maybe he was struggling for the wheel or something. But
that's
there's
possible.
not a room in there, and there's enough people in there that they could have overpowered him. I guess I have some doubts about the takedown.
Fair enough.
But they are mercifully not shown to me, so I can use my imagination to imagine how it happened.
Use your goddamn imagination. Just let the episode happen, Andrew.
That's right. Don't overthink it.
Yes. Back in the autopsy bay, Scully dials Mulder as she chases someone out of the room and stops them from entering. She locks the rest of the doors and tells Mulder that this has to be communicable. There was a massive aneurysm or rupture on another body outside of Montello. She's called the CDC and they're on their way, but Crump needs to be isolated and she tells him to have zero contact with him. The camera cuts to Mulder driving, phone in hand, other on the wheel. Police and sirens are behind him. That's going to be a little tough, Scully. We see a barrel of the revolver slowly enter the frame. Crump takes the phone and cocks the gun. Drive. What an excellent turn. He did. Drink. Excellent turn. We knew it was coming, but it was done with a touch of humor and a whole bunch of intensity. I think we knew Mulder was in a rough situation, but now we're in the exact situation from the beginning of the episode. Back in the car. Awesome.
Back in the car, and it's going to be a car episode.
Good stuff. How did you like the reveal there?
I knew it was going to happen. I mean, I knew the minute the call happened that we were going to have Mulder in the car, at gunpoint driving along. I did not see the setup for the new chase. Actually, I guess I kind of did see the setup, but I didn't know the why.
Okay.
I'm being informed by my previous viewing of it, going into it, well, that's why. But I'm wondering if I didn't know that, whether I would have thought he's got to drive fast again, or was this just a getaway?
Right.
I think there's still pieces to put together.
Absolutely. So moving on, back at the lab, a piece of paper with a phone number slams onto the glass, separating the outside lab from the autopsy bay. It's Scully giving the just-arrived captain her phone number. And I'm sure any fans of the show who hoped Gillian Anderson would pick up when they inevitably dialed it.
It's a 555.
The 555, they don't work.
Yeah.
He calls, and the two chat face-to-face. Mulder and Crump are in visual, and they're following them. Wherever they're headed, the officers will be there to cut them off with a roadblock. She demands the arresting officers have level 2 quarantine gear, and she wants the CDC on site. The car needs to be decontaminated, and the men quarantined separately.
Okay, this episode is trash, though, right?
Are you talking to me?
And you know why it's trash.
Why is that?
When you are on the phone and you're talking to somebody who's like 5 feet away from you, and they're on the other end of that phone. Like, you call somebody and then they're actually around the corner and they walk up and you share that laugh. Oh, wait, you were right there and I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
But there's the delay.
Yeah, the delay.
There's the delay, and we don't have the delay between Scully and the police cap. This trash, man, it's just a trash episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, you will be witness to me firing Andrew on the show. Okay.
I'm sorry, sir. Pray continue.
So to finish the scene, another officer whispers into the captain's ear, and he then informs Scully that Crump is demanding the officers tailing Mulder fall back. We cut to Crump yelling into Mulder's cell phone to leave him alone. The tailing cruisers fall back simultaneously. Mulder takes the opportunity to ask Crump if he can be let out, just to try, because we would all do the same thing. Crump still has his revolver trained on the driver. He tells him to shut up. He grabs Mulder's ID and notes he's FBI. Go figure. The cell phone rings again, angering Crump to the point of rolling down his window and ejecting the phone from the car onto the highway. Mulder cannot believe it. That was so stupid, he says. But Crump regains control of the conversation with his gun. As they approach a stoplight, Crump realizes Mulder's slowing down. He immediately jumps up and screams for Mulder to go. Obviously, he's in a lot of pain as he groans. Mulder assesses the situation and does as he's told, slamming on the gas and weaving in and out of intersection traffic to the tune of horns from all sides. Once back on track, Mulder asks Crump if this is what happened to his wife. But Crump isn't too keen on talking. Mulder reminds him that his life is in his hands whether he wants to believe that or not, and whether or not he has a gun. He is the only one who can help. The disheveled man accuses him and says, "You people put him here." Mulder then informs him of the impending roadblock. and when Crump looks out the back window, he sees the silhouette of a chopper high above them. Cut to the roadblock, the officers are all prepped and ready to take the men into quarantine and stop this madness. But over the radio, they hear that they've lost Crump. At the autopsy bay, the captain informs Scully they've lost the men. He was hoping Mulder would steer them towards the roadblock, but it appears the opposite. Why would he do that? And Scully ponders if he knows something they don't. She's called over to the cell cultures. No evidence of infection in either victim, but they're not in the clear just yet.
I desperately want to get a word in to say that the car, not the car chase, but the sort of car stunt work of Mulder going around the red light, that it's really good. And I think maybe this is a side effect of moving to LA and having a greater pool of driver stunt people to work with.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not a hugely complicated bit of stunt work, but it's like you can imagine it because we all drive in rush hour traffic, right? So, we know how cars work. And just the cars are going this way and that, and he's got to go around this way, and he spins out and goes down the culvert and comes back up and around and keeps on going. It's just really well done. And I was just on the edge of my seat for that little moment, and he's just running a red light.
Yep.
It's really good. Anyway, I just wanted to call that out.
I like that it wasn't the one car honking that he almost gets hit by or almost gets T-boned by.
Yeah.
It is much more complicated than that, and that's very cool.
Yeah.
So it's at this moment that Scully's phone rings, and it is A.D. Kirsch. He tries to trap her into lying, and when she takes too long to answer where she is, she comes clean. They're in Nevada working on an immediate problem. He offers Las Vegas field agents to assist them with his pompous attitude, and he's not doing this out of kindness. Before he hangs up, he tells her he wants to see Mulder alive even more than she does. She goes over to the coroner, who is reviewing the latest Montello victims chart, and she sees he worked at the power company and asks if he read the meter at Vicky's place. Possible revelation, Andrew?
Clearly.
I think the pieces are falling together.
It's all coming into place.
Back in Mulder's car, he continues to ask an exhausted Crump what he knows about what's happening.
Boom.
Crump, what else can you tell me about what's happening to you?
Mr. Crump. Call me by my last name. You say Mr. in front of it.
Mister. Gotcha.
Not Crump. Mr. Crump.
I can think of something else I'd like to call you. I can put Mister in front of that too, if you'd like.
You know, what kind of name is Mulder anyway? What is it, like Jewish?
Excuse me?
Jewish it is, right?
It's Mr. Mulder to you peanut-picking bastard. Now, Mr. Crump, what can you tell me about what's happening? What?
You're going the wrong way.
What do you mean it's the wrong way?
This way, go this way, go this way.
I can't go. I can't go left. There's only trees there. Crump. Crump. It's west. Huh? West. You gotta head west. It's just like you did with your wife. You took her and you headed west. It's not just motion, it has to be in one direction. Is that right? What the hell happened to you?
What indeed happened to Mr. Crump?
That's such a good scene. I love how quickly the pain subsides or comes in. It's not like a slowly escalating thing. It is just an immediate situation. And I like that they're at odds, not just because he's holding a gun to Mulder's head, but because, he's also now a bigot, which is unfortunate, but it gives him at least some depth as a character, something to, you feel for this guy, but now you feel like you're second guessing if you should feel for him because he's got some misgivings about Jewish people. So it toes that line. It's like, should I feel bad for this guy or not? But this kind of lays the groundwork for who Crump is. And it makes the following scenes even better.
Which begs the question. The easy shortcut for Mulder would be to slow down.
Who's in control now?
That's right. I'll get my answers if I just slow down a little bit, or I will escape the situation by just coming to a complete halt while you bash your head in and then explode your head.
Okay, well, because he's not an evil bastard, he doesn't do that, Andrew. Even if you would, he does not do
there's
that.
Also there's also the possibility this is a virus, although that, if you're looking at our live chat, you would see that there's some argument about whether this is a virus or not. Then, if he died and Mulder was in the vehicle, then maybe he would be infected by this thing. So there is I do like that Crump is in a sense a bomb. So it is rehashing the speed plot, because in that case, the reason he had to keep driving was there was a bomb strapped to the car. And if he drove at a speed lower than a certain rate, the bomb blows up.
Right.
So in this case, Crump is the bomb, and I like that. It's different. It's novel. It's interesting.
Very much. We go now to the Crump residence in Montello, Nevada. It's nighttime. Scully and the other CDC agents are in quarantine gear as their flashlights cut through the darkness. Nearby, a German Shepherd is chained up on a lead. It is violently running back and forth and barking to the point of getting yanked back as it reaches its limits on the tether. The agents slowly descend on him to calm him down, and Scully begins to draw some fluids from her pack to help. She takes the needle to sedate him, but before she can assist, a spray of blood hits one of the agent's visors and the barking stops. It was the same situation. The dog was suffering too. Poor puppy, Andrew. As horrific as this scene is, and as terrifying as it might be, all I can think of is that poor dog has been chained up for like 2 days in that Nevada heat, and then he goes to die like this.
It's pretty sad.
Raise your glass to that guy. It's that time, everyone. The Magus Media Production sales pitch. Please check out our homepage at magusmediaproductions.net so you can stay up to date on all of our shows. Check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Magus Media Productions, both of which have our Discord link on it, where you can join us for live shows as we record them for future release. At Magus Media Prods on X, our Patreon, patreon.com/Magus Media, where a $5 donation will help us keep the lights on and bringing you new content, and you get some stickers. Thank you for your consideration and support.
I have questions about the HVAC suits they're wearing, or hazmat suits, whatever they're.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what my problem is with those suits?
The lights?
That shine directly into your eyes?
Yes. I knew you were going to bring this up. Arguably, sir, ladies and gentlemen listening, the usage of lights in many of these scenes in Hollywood, not just in this show, not just this episode, but when there are lights in a quarantine uniform of some kind,
a spacesuit
helmet, it is typically to light the actor's face.
So you can see who the hell is talking and identify them as a character.
It is not something that is practical, and this has been argued before. We are not the first to do it, but, whatever.
Whatevs. Yep.
I mean, they are actually walking around and seeing. So people have argued that the light would reflect back into their eyes and they wouldn't be able to see where they're going. I don't agree with that.
Or glare off the front of the
that's what I mean.
faceplate.
Yeah, like I don't know that I believe that, but where am I going? I don't know.
What? Who built this suit? Clunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is your problem. I saw that coming a mile away.
They had those suits directly out of the Dustin Hoffman movie or whatever, where they did the exact same
Sphere?
thing.
Is that what you're thinking?
No, it was Dustin Hoffman. They did a Outbreak movie. It might have been called
Outbreak. Yeah, Outbreak.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure I saw those suits there, and they're like, I can get them for you wholesale.
May as well.
But yeah, that is a nice scene in that it's not nice at all, but it does sort of start writing the stakes for what's happening here.
Yeah. Well, later on that night, we're back in Mulder's car. Crump is disheveled and sweaty in the back seat. Mulder has been gently interrogating him for the story to his and his wife's condition. A few more seconds.
You
There
woke
you
up
go.
this morning, then what?
We have been through this.
You woke up this morning, but you didn't go to work. Why?
It was raining. You don't shingle in the rain. I was up at 6 reading the paper.
What was your wife doing?
Cooking, man. Breakfast. She was just putting breakfast on the table when
You looked up.
I looked up and I saw that she had this nosebleed she didn't even know she had.
What caused it?
What do I'm like Quincy? How the hell should I know what caused it? Just happened. 10, 15 minutes later, she just starts getting sick. Said she got a headache. It just keeps getting worse and worse. She starts screaming. I didn't know what the hell to do. I just, I got her in the truck and taken her to the hospital. But then it seemed like the faster we went, the better she'd do. But just as soon as I tried to slow down or stop.
I'm sorry about your wife.
He doesn't take kindly to Mulder expressing sympathy for his wife because he accuses, once again, Mulder and the Jew FBI of doing this to them. He's well aware that they're using them as government guinea pigs, referencing Agent Orange and the fact that they pump radiation into, quote, little retarded kids' gonads. His diatribe ends with him stating he's seen people in the area around his trailer at night. He knows. Deciding to take the high road, Mulder doesn't retort, but instead lets him know that they're almost out of gas.
There is a nice capper to that scene. Yeah, did you miss the whole part where he has these whole assumptions about Mulder being Jewish and thus these, just going into his conspiracy theory mind? I mean, it's very topical then and now.
Yeah. It's awful, but I mean, this is the role that they've written for Cranston is to be the typical anti-Zionist, xenophobic right winger who watches a little too much Fox News and doesn't read a book. But yeah, so that's who they've created.
The best part of that whole thing is that he is, in the end, ultimately the victim of what could be called a conspiracy theory.
Yes. It is not lost on me.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to it. He could still make it.
He might. Different ending.
So back at Crump's house, they're still searching the trailer. Nothing appears out of the ordinary. Despite the dog that died, this is a normal residence. Scully and the other scientists on the scene mention that there are zoological diseases that can cross-infect. Then they spot another residence a short distance away. Crump has a neighbor. They enter that residence slowly, the lights of their suits guiding them. Scully happens upon a birdcage with 2 deceased parakeets. I really wish they had just done little blood sprays in that. That would have been fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Little holes in their head. She spots someone in a recliner in the den watching television. Fearing they're dead, they approach cautiously. As they get closer, they startle what turns out to be an elderly woman half to death. She gestures and howls in fear. To everyone's confusion, she doesn't use words, just sounds. Along with the viewers, they realize she's deaf.
Because she's watching television with the closed circuit TV on the captions.
With the captions, closed captions, yes.
Those
And
captions,
she's
closed
making
circuit.
weird noises.
Like all deaf people do? Is that what you're saying?
No.
No? Okay.
Don't paint me
in this
into a
episode
corner.
would suggest
This
that.
episode would suggest the noises she's making.
Listen, this episode is a real indictment of stereotype. It's what we should take away.
It is.
Yeah, it's a good one. All right, what happens next? Where are we?
All right. Well, and when we left Mulder and Crump, they needed gas badly. So they've come to an understanding. They need gas, and Mulder is going to swing into a gas station, fill up, and take off as fast as he can. As he screams into the gas station, Mulder starts to do just that. He leaps out of the car, untwists the gas cap, and puts the pump, but nothing happens. He yells to the worker inside, who, with a few other men, are laughing at him, to turn the pump on, but he asks Mulder to pay over the microphone. Frustrated, Mulder thinks on his toes. He spots a station wagon that was left to fill up by a man inside the small mart. He digs Crump from his back seat and drags him to the station wagon, keys still in the vehicle. Without even taking the time to disconnect the pump, he speeds off, the owner of the vehicle running after him.
I want to know where this place is. Like, this guy who owns the station wagon pulled up. Obviously went inside.
It's a small gas station. It's got to be a small town where they know each other.
Credit is given to this guy, but he essentially starts filling up and then goes inside
to shoot the shit with his buddy.
Yeah, Carl will be fine.
Well, as the man, the owner of the station wagon, runs into the night yelling, the camera lingers on Mulder's abandoned Ford Taurus. It tracks to the driver's side window and then down to a note on the driver's seat. It's a crudely scrawled note with Scully's name and title.
And probably her phone number, too.
Probably her phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Back at the Crump house, they help load the scared and confused woman into their van while Scully and the other scientists ponder how one deaf woman could survive amongst everything else. After a good old pregnant pause, Scully slowly lifts her helmet off, startling the other man. She surmises maybe they're looking for a sound. The suits won't matter in that regard. She gets a call from the detective. He's perturbed because Mulder is evading their roadblocks and now is stealing cars. He reads the note Mulder left to her, which includes, "Must head west, no roadblocks." She tells him to take Mulder at his word, but that angers the captain, who suggests she run that by her superiors. As the conversation escalates, her phone signal distorts. She's listening to the captain while scanning the surroundings. Dead birds are on the ground everywhere. She comes across a rectangular utility access panel on the ground, property of the U.S. government. Her phone call dies.
If that isn't a clue, I don't know what is.
I think that's a clue. I think
it's a clue.
Actually, I think it's a red herring. Means nothing.
It means nothing.
Cell service was notoriously bad in the 90s.
I mean, who gets a cell phone call out in rural Nevada anyway?
Right. She probably wouldn't even be able to use the phone.
I mean, she's a woman, so.
Inside the station wagon, Crump's pain is getting worse. He asks Mulder to speed up. After a moment, when he's calmed a bit, he apologizes for the Jew remarks.
Hey, the Jew stuff. No offense. I can't help who he's born to.
That was an apology, right? Gee, I don't know if I can see to drive. My eyes are tearing up so bad.
Whatever, man. Why are you doing this?
Why am I doing what?
This.
It's not in your best interest to make me question that right now.
How do I know you ain't doing exactly what they want you to? Driving me all around creation, experimenting on me. How do I know it ain't that?
I guess you don't.
I ain't saying you are. I'm just saying there's no way to treat a man. Shake away his dignity like that. It ain't right.
Oh, that gets you in the feels there.
As the conversation ends, they pass a welcome sign for California. And as Danny in the chat is pointing out, they're running out of West.
That's a pretty good line. I should point out, Danny has made some excellent observations during our review of the episode so far. Specifically, is the virus afraid of the sun?
Yes.
Is it chasing the sun?
It's chasing the sun. No.
Yeah.
You all will be revealed, Danny, if you watch the episode or listen, as we will reveal what's
going to happen. Everything will come to an end.
Okay. Well, we go now to a Navy base, Andrew.
Secret underground base linked to the water.
Scully meets a Lieutenant Brill. He is a little put off, having explained this previously to the FCC. He mistakes her for being an agent of the FCC and has to explain it again. She plays coy here. She assumes the role, if you will, to get the information. Yesterday morning, their ground conduction radio system experienced a brief power surge. It interrupted TV reception in 4 states, but they've taken steps to correct it. She tries to label it as Project Seafarer, which he insists is classified information. Then she gently asks, theoretically, what he thinks would happen to a living organism in the area during such a power surge. And he ominously tells her, well, that's classified too.
There's a drawing on the wall which literally says Project Seafarer.
I don't know what he's hiding, but he's hiding something.
Yeah, exactly.
Or he thinks he is.
Did you know, Mike, that extremely low frequency technology and specifically Project Seafarer actually existed?
Oh, yeah. Part of why I like this episode so much.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Dragged from real life events.
The next morning, we're in the car again. There has been a development. Mulder shows Crump there are 2 officers on motorcycles coming upon them. When one officer catches Mulder looking into his side mirror, he begins pulling something out of his belt. To everyone's surprise, it's a cell phone. We quick cut to Scully boarding a small jet as she talks with Mulder. He's at a loss as to what to do now, heading towards the end of Route 36, wherever that is. And now, Andrew, we get one of the coolest discussions of theories in the entire show.
Mulder, are you okay?
Yeah, aside from terminal cell phone withdrawal, that and I gotta pee. Where are you?
I'm just about to board a Justice Department jet.
Hopefully I'll overshoot you.
Headed where?
I don't know, Mulder, you tell me.
I'm guessing wherever the hell Route 36 ends, but we can't stop, Scully, and I'm kind of at a loss as to what to do next.
Well, I think I have a loose theory as to what caused this.
Well, lay it on me.
Okay.
Mulder, you know what ELF waves are? Extremely low frequency radio transmissions?
Yeah, use an antenna like 50 miles long. In the military, use it to communicate with the Trident submarines. Project Seafarer, Project Harp.
Well, Seafarer has an antenna array stretching beneath the edge of Patrick Crump's property. Now, ELF fields have been shown to produce biological effects in human tissue, inducing electrical currents, altering chemical reactions.
Not to mention that as a potential weapons application, it's been referred to as electrical nerve gas, or maybe behind the so-called Taos hum.
What if some overload, some hum from this system could somehow match the resonant frequency of the human skull? I mean, what if it could induce a like hum that could somehow exert a rising pressure on the labyrinth of the inner ear, in a sense shattering it?
But with constant movement somehow ameliorating that pressure, making it bearable. But why only westward movement?
I don't know, Mulder. I don't know. I mean, maybe it has to follow certain lines of force, electrical or magnetic.
But the big question, Scully, is what do we do about it?
Well, I think I know, Mulder, but it's nothing that Mr. Crump is going to like.
This is one of the most unique and fun think tanks the agents have ever done on the show. I mean, they try on theories, they work together on what could be happening and come up with a working theory they can both agree on, which I think is excellent stuff here. I mean, typically when they split the agents up, you think it hinders the episode. But in this episode, it has been working so well because they're both accomplishing stuff.
I would agree with that. I think it's interesting that in this case, Scully is the one using the superpower.
A little bit. Yeah, she's the one kind of putting the pieces together. And it reminds me a little bit of, what's it called? F. Emasculata, where she's in the prison and he's out trying to find the prisoner, escaped convict. And they both kind of have to work together in that episode as well. And yeah.
There's a callback to that for sure. I think the issue I had at this point is, and they don't need to come to an explanation for why West. Ultimately, they don't need to have that answered, but it's kind of annoying that they don't.
I'm good enough with this. Like the explanation works for me in terms of, you know, the vibrations of the human body, the skull in particular, and kind of resonating with the gravity of the planet, the pull of the planet, and the surge in power kind of causing this whole thing. And the fact that ELF waves and the effects on organisms is actually a contested thing. This works for me. It is over the top, and of course it's television, but you don't need to be a scientist to understand kind of where they're going with this.
It is still science fiction, but I think, and I rarely go back to let's make the episode better, but I think here's what it would have done to satisfy this very, very tiny plot hole for me. And that would be, the answer is that's literally the direction the ELF antenna is aligned. Mm-hmm. It is east to west. So that is why. And it's not that they turned it off. It had a surge. It affected the Crumps, and it's still turned on. Mm-hmm. And it's going to continue to harass them as long as it's turned on. They are super attenuated to it, I suppose, because of this power surge, and it's going to have this fatal side effect. And the delightful quandary they could have would be, there is a solution. You turn off the antenna, and that will save them. But the Navy refuses to do it because it's operationally important for them to continue to do it. And they're willing to accept the casualty, which then leads them to a situation where, and they say something like, and you know, you'll never be able to prove this, or it's all completely deniable, whatever. Right. But then it leads them to our last ditch effort is going to be to do this horrendous surgery in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So yeah, to close out the scene here, the end of the conversation is about Crump himself. What do they do? And Scully's proposal is spoken off screen. Mulder showing visible signs of discomfort just hearing it. This concerns Crump, who has been diligently listening from the back seat. When Mulder hangs up, he informs him he was right. They did it to you. They being the government. They have one shot to get Scully to insert a large bore needle into Crump's ear to relieve the pressure, and it will likely, unfortunately, leave Crump deaf. Taking a brief moment to ponder this, he shows resolve and agrees to it. Despite the unappealing prospect, the goal is to live. There's some resolution here. Hopes thereof.
No, I like it. It's a great scene.
Grump leans back. He asks Mulder kindly to increase his speed a bit. His mood, despite his dire situation, has improved at least a little bit.
Mm-hmm. They got a plan.
Now, Lolita, California. The ambulance and medical team reach the destination first. Scully hops out of the back of the truck, and as she looks towards the nearby winding road bending around a hill, the camera falls to the needle in her hand. Something that makes anyone watching cringe with every fiber of their being, knowing where that is supposed to go. In short order, Mulder and the two officers escorting them round the bend into sight. Scully orders everyone to get into position. As the motorcycle clears way for Mulder's station wagon, Scully is alarmed when, instead of pulling up next to her, Mulder passes them and parks a few yards away, towards the shore. They rush to the vehicle, and as Scully walks down the length of the driver's side, the camera shows us blood on the window. It's too late. Mulder just sits, looking out at the ocean. Scully leaves him be as he slowly gets out and walks to the ridge. He slips his tie off and stands quietly, contemplating what he and Crump have just been through. Mark Snow's solemn piano filling in the gaps. We go now to A.D. Kirsch's office at the FBI. The agents stand for the reprimanding as Kirsch reads off line by line, charge by charge of what they accrued on their excursion. They stand stone-faced. When Kirsch is finished, Mulder continues with the insubordination. Is that it? Back to the bozo work? Big piles of manure? Kirsch tells Mulder he can always quit if he's unhappy, to which Mulder shakes his head in disdain and leaves, slamming the door. Scully remains, however, to try and bail him out, but Kirsch tells her she apologizes for him too much. However, she corrects him. She's not apologizing for this. Because of his work, the DoD has shut down their antenna array in Nevada, and he's saved lives. But Kirsch shrugs it off. There's no proof of that. Besides, they admit no culpability, and the closure of that facility is coincidental to the investigation. Kirsch lays it out coldly for Scully. He doesn't care if they saved a busload of doe-eyed little urchins on their way to Bible camp. You no longer investigate X-Files. Scully leaves, and under her breath, she mutters her own insubordination. Big piles of manure. And slams the door herself. End.
Let it just be said that Kirsch's line is so badass and awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone, he's got, 30 seconds of screen time? And you're like, yeah, that's going to be great.
It is extremely cool because in the last episode, he didn't get a line or anything. He was just introduced as the bad guy.
Yeah.
He's going to be their new boss, and he's actually going to keep them in line, or at least try to. And in this episode, it just highlights who he's going to be. And it is a no-nonsense, I'm not your friend, boss. And he's going to hold them out and hang them out to dry when they deserve it. And, it sets up his character very well.
I really like the end of the chase. I think it's worth spending a moment to reflect on that slow pull down. I'm divided because I do like how they played it. I do like how it is they come down the switchback, he drives up, and then he drives past. And you have this moment of why didn't he just stop there? Mm-hmm. Why did you make them run to me? And then you realize it's because it doesn't matter. But I also wonder if a more effective ending would be that he comes around that corner and he slows down to a stop right beside the ambulance, and they make no rush. You know? Because by this point,
so they kill him. They kill him by not rushing.
Oh, no. They slow down because he's already dead. You see, that's the thing. I gotcha. He's already died. But I don't like the misdirection of him driving past. Like, they had a plan. He's going to drive up and he's going to stop and they're going to jump in and do the thing. But this bait and switch of he drives past, it doesn't, I don't know. I don't like it.
Well, leave it to you to shit on the ending. All right.
I don't like that one aspect of it. I mean, it's just, it's confusing at a moment which it doesn't need to be confusing. There's a simplicity that is written into this entire episode, which works so well. And they have this other moment where it's like, why is he being a dick and driving away? It's like, is he driving to the end of the road because that is somehow symbolic as being the very last foot of road he can drive to?
All right. I'll let it happen.
I will
let it happen.
I will just summarize by saying I actually really do like this episode. It is a tour de force for Bryan Cranston, even though he's not given a lot. But they make such good use of show don't tell. Mm-hmm. Like, he's in pain and pointing to where he needs to be, or shouting, you have to speed up. He doesn't say you have to speed up because I'm in pain or it hurts. He's literally acting it, and it just works so well. Kind of wish we had a little bit more banter between them. Yeah. You don't need it, but it works really well from what we've got. And I want them to indulge in it because it's so good. Mm-hmm. I just don't know what that could be at the expense of, because everything else in the episode is very good as well.
It's almost like we want more conversation. We want that banter back and forth because they do have a great dynamic. And even though, especially when Crump's coming around at the end to being a human and not a bigot or whatever,
Yeah.
They could have gotten a lot more, but at the same time, it's like, what do you get rid of? And
exactly,
it becomes like, I think they got as much as they were going to get out of this one. So
there's probably a lot left on the editing room floor.
Oh yeah,
that they had to kill a lot of babies to get to that moment, because there's a lot of good Scully moments in this episode too. I don't think I would. I don't think I would sacrifice any of those for the sake of more Bryan Cranston, David Duchovny, even though it's compellingly good stuff.
Yeah. Just a fantastic episode. I mean, there's not much to say. It falls in that category of this feels like it could actually happen. Is it science fiction? Yes. But their reference to the ELF waves and Spiritfarer, the Taos hum, I actually looked some of this stuff up and kind of preparing for the episode, and
yeah, me too.
Nothing's been proven, but there are things that have happened, and people highly contest what it is or is not. And, Vince Gilligan took that to create a highly unique episode, one that is, you don't want to miss a piece of it. And the acting in it is fantastic. And Bryan Cranston just outshines this whole thing. To the point of, like I was saying earlier, you don't know how to feel about his character. You want to hate or dislike people who are closed-minded, but he humanizes them. He takes that moment to let him apologize and not fully come around, but become more of a human, more of a sympathetic creature. It takes us from, at the beginning, we felt bad for him because we kind of knew what was going on. And then he becomes a bigot. And then at the end, you care about him again, but you never stopped caring about him. It's one of those things where you don't know how to feel sometimes when you're watching the episode, because he is technically an unlikable person for the things he says to Mulder, but he comes around.
One of the things this show does really well is providing villains that are uniquely human. And some of our favorite episodes have been ones where the antagonist is you or me. They are put into an incredible situation over which they have no control and often no agency, and they are a victim. But they are compelled to do the things that they have to do. Like Blood is a perfect example of this. He's and arguably the same kind of setup. He's the victim of a government plot of some kind, unanticipated or anticipated as it may be, but he is the unwitting agent, and you sympathize because you look at it going, if that was me, I would feel the same way. And that is the strength of Bryan Cranston's performance that pulls you out of there, right? He goes, wow, I could see that guy's pain. And of course you want the good guys to help him despite himself, despite his worser nature. Yeah. So that's the real strength for me in this episode. And it's Vince Gilligan, man. He can just tease that story to its ultimate and logical conclusion. He is one of the better ones, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
Despite the moments where I had issues, but it's in me trying to perfect it. It's in me trying to go, but what about this? And make some interesting talking points. Arguably, there's not a lot that can be done to improve this one. It's really, really good.
What do you say we get to listener comments?
I think that's a great idea. So
all right.
Let's get to
I will start us off here.
Oh, you would, wouldn't you?
Well, you started last time.
That's true, I did, yeah.
Liza M. says, Drive is fantastic. 9 out of 10. Only note is that the larger S6 Season 6 context detracts from an otherwise perfect episode.
Let's not think in terms of seasons anymore.
You subtracted a point for that.
That's true.
Jeez. No, good comment.
Said it was terrific, not perfect. So I would like to know, Liza, I would like a little feedback, Liza. I'd like to know what took away 1 point from your 10 out of 10 score. What was the...
Well, that's what he says. Just the fact that... I mean, the only thing I can derive from her comment is that because there's Season 6 context in it, like the Kirsch stuff and the poo investigations.
Okay. But I argue that Kirsch makes for a very nice little bookend.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess what Liza's saying, she doesn't like Kirsch. That's fair.
And that's
we'll
fair.
Get more about that later, I'm sure. Kevin Moran says, Drive is on the short list of my favorite episodes of the entire series. The overall suspense, Bryan Cranston's performance as Crump, and Mark Snow's score make it an A+. I don't think you would find any disagreement from Micah.
No. Sarah Lee says, the first time I saw Drive on TV, I thought the news report in the beginning was real, and I was shooketh. Also, the lighting during the scene when Scully and co. go to investigate Neighbor Lady's trailer is magnificent. Somehow makes everything look underwater. Good stuff.
Do you think she means the lighting in her face?
I think
Scully's
partially
face?
that and partially the flashlights.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It does look a little weird out there, that's for sure.
But I do want to say, to kind of piggyback on her comment, I remember vividly watching this episode when it aired. Because we had just come from the movie, a couple months earlier. And I was super excited for this season. And this episode, when the dog scene came on, I was not ready for that. Let me just put it that way. When that head exploded, I was like, oh, God, I feel sick.
Yeah. Well, that had a feel of Alien as well.
A little bit.
The chest burster initial blurp.
Yep.
They definitely have a few homage in this.
Yeah.
Olivia Stambridge says, Drive is great. Anything by Vince Gilligan is always great. On a rewatch, I realized the police capt is Gary Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the hospital shooter from Grey's Anatomy, which I don't think is a fun fact for anyone apart from me.
I recognized him as well.
Yeah, great actor and a very good stalwart role in that episode for sure. Well, there it is.
There it is. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, everyone, for showing up and commentating as we stumbled our way through these episodes. Yeah. Andrew, as we do here, would you like to have the final word?
I shall. I will drive us home. I will get in the car and start the engine, depress my foot onto the clutch so as not stall out, and take us into first. As we head down the road... Oh, I'm going to love this live chat stuff. Danny suggesting we do a helicopter news report intro for every episode. Well,
Maybe I will. I can probably write some stuff. This took me not long to write because it was so in-depth and so deep and heady. Didn't take me long at all. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at tinhxfilespod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.